like I was actually throwing the disc pretty well, but I made some mistakes where they mattered the most. And overall, I felt a little bit weaker on the course today. It wasn't really focused, made some lazy shots, and it cost me a lot. The Beast is a challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to play way different course than this one, so let's see, and I hope it's not going to be so windy.
I feel like the wind will be more of a factor over there. Although I do love playing here in the woods, I think it's just an exciting course, and it's so satisfying to hit your lines and actually like get birdie looks.
I'm still fighting for that first place, so that's my goal all the time.
It's a new day, it's a new moment, so I just told myself to not give up, and no matter what's going on, everything will work out.
Hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2024 European Open presented by Discmania Discs. This is cut day, this is moving day, this is the third major of the year. I'm Madison Walker.
And I'm Ella Hansen. We are moving to the Beast today. More open of the two courses we're playing for this major, and probably what people picture when they think of European Open.
I don't know how many years we've played this course, but it's been a lot at the European Open. I know this is a very old course. We're going to have the same lead card as yesterday, starting off with Kristin Tattar at 74% fairway hits through round 2, 61% of the time. She's finding circle 2 for birdie and making 89% of her circle 1 X putts.
Eveliina, 81% fairway hits, 78% circle 2 in regulation, giving herself a ton of opportunities. Just 60% C1X putting. Definitely looking to keep that stat up there.
Silva struggled a little bit yesterday with just getting birdies, but she played clean, really good scrambling, 67% of the time fairway hits. We're definitely looking for more fairway hits today from Silva, 47% of the time finding circle 2, not getting as many looks as the two leading the chase right now.
And Missy, 76% fairway, 56% C2 in regulation, 71% C1X, looking to capitalize and get birdies on this course.
Let's start things off with hole 1. It's 98 meters, just over 300 feet. This looks like a hyzer off the tee, but it's definitely more of a straight pushing shot that you just use the disc's fade to get down to this green. The basket is elevated and perched on the edge of a little hillside where if you're putting from the short side, it is definitely a death putt. No out of bounds to worry about though, besides the triple Mando.
Welcome to the European Open 2024, presented by Discmania. It's time to start the moving day FPO lead card action, starting at 9 a.m. here on the Beast Nokia DiscGolfPark. First on the tee, currently leading the tournament at 10 under par, your two-time world champion, sponsored by Latitude 64 from Estonia, Kristin Tattar.
No rain in the forecast today, thankfully, but I think everyone just brings umbrellas just in case. It is Finland summer.
It's a little foggy when I teed off, and it's just in the back of your mind.
Kristin sneaks through all of those guardian trees. She's on the green, on the deep side, cutting back up there.
Kind of a nice place to be if you are going to be a little outside of the circle. You can give it more of a run from lower.
Finnish national champion, sponsored by Innova, Eveliina, Salonen.
Eveliina continuing to throw the disc like a dream. She is finding herself inside the circle a lot, making a lot of circle 1 X putts, but definitely could capitalize more from circle 2. She gets tangled up just a little early on this one. She'll probably have to make an approach.
Next on the tee, currently at 1 under par, your two-time Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series champion, sponsored by MVP Disc Sports from Finland, Silva, Saarinen.
Silva couldn't quite keep it in the fairway, especially on approaches yesterday. She was always just a little further from the basket than you'd like, but I expect to see her throw a fire round today.
Yeah, I think on a more open course like this, she definitely can excel in the woods, but somewhere like this where even if she's off her line a little bit, she'll give herself a putt. That's where she shines.
Your reigning United States champion, sponsored by DiscGolfPark, Missy, Gannon.
Missy also super comfortable on a course like this. She also shines where there's OB line galore.
Shines in the lines.
Yes, she does. A little bit too much turn on this disc, but it has some time to fade, and it sure does. She's going to be deep of the pin, outside the circle.
And those gravel paths on the right and long are not OB.
So interesting time right now at the European Open. The MPO had some issues with rain yesterday, so the MPO cards are playing over at the other course, the Monster, their second round finishing out. But still, even with the split course, we had such a big gallery early in the morning out watching FPO. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was on one of the earlier cards, but even...
Okay. Hole one, come on.
Wow, Missy starting off her round with a bang just outside C1. Giving it a great bid.
Taking advantage of that uphill look at the pin. No fear.
That feels good. Getting your round started off with a birdie. Especially for Missy. I know she has had a couple up and down putting tournaments lately, and so starting off with a good putt, gotta feel good. Same with Silva.
Yeah, not one to be big putted. Kristin with a lot of low to high motion on this putt. It's hard to get power.
Looked like, yeah, she ended up trickling kind of far down that hill, and are those birch trees, Matt? Those are birch trees, right? You would know.
I'm trying to learn over here.
A little bit of a low ceiling, so.
2 birdies, 2 pars on hole 1. Middle of the pack on difficulty, about a quarter of the field getting birdies, 6 on the day.
And this course is kind of interesting. There's like little sections where the holes are kind of similar. You have like 1 through 3, and then that are more open, and then you go back into the woods for 4 through 8, and then back out in the open, back into the woods, back out into the open. So you kind of...
It's like a little pretzel loop.
Yeah, you have to change your focus a little bit. This is hole 2, par 3, 322 feet, 98 meters, out of bounds all the way on the left and right, but the left is really what you're trying to avoid. It's going to be a big, pretty much full power forehand for those inclined players, or a big turnover shot. The backhand definitely feels a little bit more dangerous.
It sure does. The OB on the left side pinches as you get towards the basket, so it kind of follows the flight pattern that you would ideally hope for. If you get any sort of fading out at the end, you will find OB. Strangely, though, even if you turn your disc over too much and really commit to that high angle, you can find OB right as well. So it's a very tricky shot. Missy trickling OB left, not quite having the height or the turn. One of them. Both of them.
Both of them. Either of them.
Either of them.
That looks a little inside for Kristin.
It's very safe.
Yeah, that's the angle the angle she's looking for, but not quite the line. If she goes a couple degrees to the left, that definitely could get inside the circle. That's looking really good for Eveliina. Yeah.
Yeah, this is her type of shot. She is just outside the bullseye.
There we go. Love to see that little shy smile.
Missy trying to ring up another one to save the par. It's a pretty common spot if you do error left to be putting from.
Looks like Kristen's just laying that one up. Let's see if Silva can make 2 big putts in a row.
Yes, she can. God, it just looks so easy.
Yeah, she just makes it seem so simple. Right on line the whole way.
It's just the perfect angle, the perfect height, everything, perfect speed.
She knows it too. She's going to pick up her disc. That is absolutely in the basket.
Ooh, we're even getting a little Silva wave.
Ooh, little smile, little wave.
Uh-oh, she's back, folks.
Yeah, it took her quite a few holes yesterday to get a birdie, so starting it off with 2's got to feel good for this round.
Eveliina getting her first birdie of the round. Silva and Eveliina, 2 of only 8 birdies on hole 2. Even though it's laid right there in front of you at 322 feet, it is such a challenging angle and kind of a long distance for that forehand, like Ella said. But still, if you don't pick this one up, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I should get this every round.
Yeah, it does feel like that, especially if you feel confident with your sidearm. So Eveliina getting a birdie on hole 2, tying it back up with Kristin. Par is not a terrible start for Kristin, but you definitely want to start getting something going.
Moving on to the third open hole, hole 3. It's our first par 5. You have to make a decision here. Do you want to lay up on this short side or try to make it over this OB area and to the second half of this hole or second 3/4 of this hole? Depending on where your first shot lands, you're either going to try to bite something off in here or maybe get a little bit farther down the fairway. It's definitely birdieable if you do go over on your first shot, but if you lay up on the short side, a birdie is very challenging. That third shot, navigating through those trees, is tough. That basket is elevated, perched on a hill, and there's OB inside the circle on the backside, so it makes for some scary approaches, especially if you're coming in with a faster disc.
Wow. Just flexing out and getting flat long enough to slide over that OB line. That's a great shot for Silva.
Look at this gallery. It's so cool.
That is a sweet gallery. Eveliina going a little bit more of a line drive shot. I'm going to go ahead and say that's a destroyer.
Plenty of
way
distance.
down there. And honestly, I don't know if she's going for it, but she could. She's in the 3 zone.
She is. She could have a long putt. She's in the 3 zone.
A little surprised to see Kristin going for this. She laid it up in President's Cup with a little forehand and just coming up short. It's really tough to get the turn and the height and the not too much fade.
There was a little bit of a headwind as well, so it's scary to throw that hyzer flip shot. Missy barely making it over, but she makes it over nonetheless.
Kristin going from the short side. This is, I think, maybe the only hole I have ever played where... Oh, no, sit down. Okay. Where there is a official spotter who will tell you if you crossed or not, and you can't disagree with them as a card. They are the final decision.
They are a tournament official, like PDGA approved. Hopefully we're at a point in time where that's going to start being a regular thing. We love that out on the course.
Yeah, it definitely adds to feeling more like a level playing field when you know that every card is getting the same quality of decision.
So Silva's able, after throwing over on her first shot, to move past the most pinched part of the fairway. It bubbles out a little bit more as you get close to those trees, and then a little bit more even than that as you get close to the fence that is the short side OB for the green.
That looks good if I can get past those trees. Yeah.
Wow.
That's probably getting close to edge of circle 2. Not sure she got around the fence or not, but great shots from Eveliina.
Kristin going to try to get into this tree line here. There's some low-hanging branches that can make that tough. But that is great. She'll have a very easy up and down from there.
Seeing another one of Silva's low laser backhand approaches. So good at the standstill. Man, seeing a lot of forehand approaches from Missy. This is not something that I'm super used to seeing. I know she's got that skill, but she's relying on it quite a bit more this European Open than I have seen in the past.
Yeah, and it's tough on those little touchy forehands. I feel like that's a skill that takes some time to develop. Love to see it.
Oh my gosh, Eveliina, like 14 meters
Just
looking for the
laying up.
eagle. I mean, I respect it.
Of course, you can't mess around on this basket. If you kick on the right side, you almost guaranteed roll out of bounds.
Yeah, and with the big base, you never really know. It's on such a slope. The OB's right there.
I don't think that this basket should be elevated. I feel like this is like one that
It's like adds insult to injury.
Yeah, why? Why?
It's already naturally elevated. It doesn't need to be artificially elevated.
It just gets a little silly.
Yeah.
There were only 9 birdies on this hole. That's actually more than I was expecting. 35% of the field walking away with a 4 on this par 5. And if you scroll through that list, it is a lot of the distance throwers in the field. Huge advantage.
Hey, Matt, we both double bogeyed it.
Oh, no.
Sick.
You too?
Yeah.
I tried to go for it.
Me too.
I didn't.
I threw 3 terrible shots.
Oh, me too. Terrible.
Just atrocious.
Whoopsie.
Anyway,
That's what
looking
happens.
at the people who are playing good disc golf this weekend.
And now put your hats on. We're headed to the woods.
We are in the woods. We got hole 4 here, which is a par 4, 617 feet, 188 meters. Trying to throw a left to right drifting shot off the tee, maybe a flip up forehand or a understable backhand, and kind of a similar shot on the second if you have if you actually don't hit a tree and get all the way down there off the drive. That road up on the right is out of bounds, but because of the slope, it's kind of hard to get up there. That looks really good for Silva.
That's great. All discs have a tendency, backhand discs have a tendency to kind of filter down to the left on this fairway. It's not bad if you don't go too far, but it can be brutal if you come in with any sort of hyzer angle. That's why I love the forehand that we're seeing from Eveliina.
I think she got a little more turn on that than she was expecting, but getting through everything, doesn't hit a single tree, and that's way down the fairway. Oh,
Missy catching the tree that we all catch.
That is the one to miss.
Mm-hmm. This is at 617 feet, this is definitely a hole that everyone knows that they can get, but it does demand 2 perfect shots.
It does.
Even Kristin right there, not hitting any major trees and filtering, she's still going to have a lot of work left to do.
Another Missy forehand. That's great. In a good spot, getting back towards the middle of the fairway, setting herself up for a chance at the par.
Oh, no.
Don't see that a lot from Kristin.
That is a tough little landing spot right there. The trees kind of wall up.
Oh, man. And that line looked really good, just a little too high.
Missy coming in a little bit low. It's fine. She'll still have a long putt. It's just low ceiling and pretty obstructed from that short side. She's just outside circle 2.
Silva a little over here on the left. Those trees get pretty thick. The gaps are small.
This is the area where, well, pretty much this whole fairway where disc can pick up and roll at any time. I saw a couple rollaways on my card.
That is such a good shot from Eveliina. Wow.
And that's
from
her
a knee,
second, too. Come on.
big flex through the trees.
Again, we were missing only 2 cards on the stats today, but for what we do have, Eveliina is the only person to land in circle 1 in regulation.
Oh. That was one of those ones where it looked like it was maybe going to go in, but it was 30 short. Well, didn't end up 30 short, but you know what I'm saying.
Or it could have hit that tree limb and rolled.
For sure.
One or the other.
Oh, Missy giving that a really good run. She will be looking at a bogey yet to have a par today.
Oh, no. Eveliina just an inch short. There was only 1 birdie today. Sarah Hokum got it from circle 2.
Sweet. Forehand hole, though. Yeah,
for sure.
I can picture Hokum's shots on this one for sure.
I played a practice round with her. They were good.
Yeah.
They went far.
I feel like these wooded par 4s, I think all of them on the course, to me, if you get a par, you're pretty happy.
You are ecstatic.
You might want to birdie it, but like...
And you can, but that doesn't mean that you will most of the time.
Pars certainly feel good. And yeah, I feel like birdies on those par 4s are feeling bonusy.
Yeah, this course, like Ella said, you kind of have to switch up your focus a lot. It's in the open holes, maybe pick up some birdies, and then you go into the woods and just hang on.
Yeah. Pretty surprising to see Kristin 2 over through 4.
Hole 5 is one of the wooded holes where you can pick up birdies. However, 335 feet and slightly downhill. It's reachable by everyone with forehands or backhands. I like the forehand line, although you do have to test these branches on the left-hand side. The backhand, you just have to make sure that you don't come in on any sort of angle or even including a hyzer, because if you get a skip off of this mulch, you can go way down the hill and have a little bit of work left to do. It's kind of just player's choice here. No out of bounds you have to worry about.
Looks really good for Silva if it doesn't.
Wow. Ace running.
Wow. Flashing the chains and getting a little lucky to sit down there inside circle 2. That just stayed straight for so long. Wow. Right at basket height, just a little bit right. That's a great shot. Eveliina pulling it right. Like that's a pretty common miss for the backhand shot, and she's gonna have to make a decision there if she wants to go for the putt or not. That looks good from Missy. Might get a little roll. Oh
Man, that was a rude route. But she is still putting. Maybe pretty steeply uphill.
Kristin going with the forehand.
I like this play. If you miss right, a lot of times the hill will kind of filter you back down towards the green. Oh no, this is too much filtering.
Oh, stop. Oh. Yeah, not sure where that ended up. Might still be putting. Just a layup for Eveliina. I think that's a smart play. You can kind of see how steep it is past the green down the hill.
Missy giving it a good run, coming in nice and soft. That drop off comes up pretty quickly just outside the bullseye on the green.
That looked great from Kristin, just catching the top of the cage.
One more chance for a birdie on our lead card. It's just a little bit too uphill. There were 6 birdies today, 23% of the field. No one on our lead card is going to get it. And that's kind of the way that these holes work in this little wooded loop. And then we have another loop that's a little bit more wooded later in the round, starting at hole 12. Those, you just don't bank on birdies on any of them.
Yeah.
You just try to get through.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few wooded holes that feels a little bit more gettable, but you happy with a par for sure on this one. No rollaways.
Yeah, and it's a pretty muddy side hill too. If you land short, it's really hard footing. Another theme of these wooded holes.
And we saw Missy slip yesterday at the Monster, and it definitely rained more since that round. And
we are here. We are one. We will fight. We will fall. We will prevail. From the fjords of Norway to the shores of Spain, from the fire of Iceland to the hope of Ukraine, 30 countries, one voice. Go Europe.
They must have done work on the tee pads though, because they felt great today.
yeah, tee pads felt great, but the fairways, you never know.
Yeah.
Hole 6, par 3, 328, 100 meters on the dot. A pretty straight tunnel. It's got a little bit of fade to the right at the end, but it's kind of a sneaky one. It looks a little bit open, but you have this tree on the right and this stump on the left, and that width of the tunnel kind of continues up the fairway. You just want to throw something as straight as possible.
Yeah, this is not one that you're trying to get necessarily even in circle 2. You can, but throwing that aggressive and that powerful of a line, unless you're Eveliina, is just not a distance that a lot of people have because of how narrow the gap is so late in the flight. It's also like kind of not really a shape that discs fly for that long.
That looks great.
That is
from
great.
Missy.
Oh, as I say that, she gets into the gap every time.
I think that's kind of what you're hoping for on this hole. Like, you're trying to hit the gap. That is so good from Kristin. Wow. Okay, well, Kristin's discs fly that way. But I think for a lot of players, you're just trying to throw something you know is going to hit the gap and hope you get some nice tree missing.
It's really tough to scramble from both left and right side of this fairway. These two big trees are really effective guardians. And then there's like kind of bushy patches that block. Eveliina just going to try to throw it in. Yeah, look at Silva didn't even throw that terrible of a shot, and she has just nothing.
And that's really tough. These bushes are super thick in this area of the course.
Come on.
Let's go. Missy making some big putts to start her round.
That's one of only 3 birdies today. Only 2 people got to circle 1. Only 2 more than that got to circle 2 in regulation. Wow, Silva.
Great scramble.
Okay.
Good putt from in the bushes.
This is one of those rounds that you turn on when your putt's feeling shaky and you need to get better.
Yeah. Silva is an inspirational putter.
Looks like everyone is today.
Awesome birdie from Kristin.
Yeah, 2 out of the 3 birdies on the day we get to watch on our lead card. The third was Jenny Karppinen. Shout out from Circle 1.
Sweet. Man, Kristin's shot was just so pure the whole way, straight down the middle. It is really hard to do that. She made it look very easy. And getting a 2-stroke swing back on Eveliina, so kind of flip-flopping on this lead card.
Hole 7. Oof, this is a par 4.
It is a par 4. It feels like a 5.
It feels like a 5. This is a long, narrow tunnel. Ideally, you want to land somewhere in this area. Don't go right. It drops off pretty steeply on that side. You can get rollaways even. It's a very weird landing zone. From that point, there's a bunch of semi-fairways everywhere. It just kind of depends on where you land, which one you will take to the green. Most important thing is on your third or fourth shot, not to come in too hot to this very treacherous green. It drops off just behind the basket, inside the bullseye, and we're talking 40 to 50 feet straight down.
Great from Missy. The way this fairway slopes, it kind of looks like you want to throw something that's going to flip up, but in my experience, just throwing something on hyzer that's going to push is the way to go, because if you hit too short, Kristin getting pretty lucky to not get an anti-skip and roll down the hill. Unfortunately, she's behind that tree. That's going to be...
It was both lucky and unlucky.
Yeah.
Ideally, I think the best play here is... Oh, that's a great kick, honestly.
Yeah.
The best play here is to kind of push something a little bit higher that's going to force the hyzer and kind of head right towards the crowd, to be frank.
My shot, I'm in my head, I'm trying to skip it up to the path.
Yep. And it is not out of bounds on this hole. There are some stakes you can see right there, but it is just for crowd control. All of that is in bounds.
And yeah, because of the way this whole wooded section is kind of sloping down towards the water, and you see that on all of these different shots, kind of which direction the hole is facing, but knowing how to use that side hill to your advantage is super important in this section.
Silva hits a narrow gap and stays up in the fairway. Missy attacking. We love to see it.
Gets a little kick, but lucky to only kick that much right, not down the hill. They did tell us on the TFL one that there are boats down at the bottom of this hill, and if you roll down there, they're not part of the course, so you can pick it up and move it.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, it drops off so much, just right to the water. Oh, no. And here's where I'm talking about the kind of bunch of, they're not even, I wouldn't call them fairways, there's just a bunch of little paths. You just kind of work with what you have. None of them are great. Sometimes you find a good one. Look at Silva with this little turnover shot. So technical.
That's so trusting to know, put it up that high, give it that angle, and trust that it's going to settle down right near the basket. That looks a little early.
Sure does. Oh, no.
That is the one mistake you cannot make on this hole.
I'm half in my mind like that should just be out of bounds, and so you don't have to play from down there. It is so sketchy. I know from experience.
In some ways, you almost would rather be all the way down the hill than, especially with the way the ground was today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very muddy, steep hill. So you can see after watching all these shots, we're not telling you how many on everyone, but it's obviously more than 4 for everyone. This is a very difficult par for this hole for the FPO field. It's the same tee and basket as the MPO. Played as the second most difficult hole of the day. And no birdies. It's one that I think could use a little work before we return for Worlds next year.
Yeah, maybe just like a basket, maybe 10 meters, 15 meters shorter.
Missy's par feeling like a birdie.
Sure does. Eveliina.
40% of the field taking a par and 60% taking a bogey or worse. Only one person got to circle 1 in regulation and 1 to circle 2.
Okay.
Oh, that would be horrible to get to circle 1 and not make the putt.
That would be sad.
Through hole 7, Eveliina still with a 2-stroke lead, playing very solid.
Very solid indeed. Moving on to the last wooded hole here. Hole 8, par 3, 236, 72 meters. It's pretty much a straight hyzer, and this hillside is protected by hay bales, but you can roll away on this green from pretty much any position, any shot. You kind of just want to play lawn darts as best you can and get it close to the basket and hope it sits. That's a little low for Missy, and hitting the hay bales. She will have a decision to make there, probably a 12 to 15 meter putt.
With a pretty decent drop off behind the basket.
I have seen some really brutal rollers on this hole.
Yeah, me too. Today.
Oh no. Oh boy. Silva throwing a great shot, getting to 7 meters.
Even though this is only 236 feet, it plays, I would say, closer to like 310, 320 maybe.
Very severely uphill.
It might even play more than that. It's really difficult to get your disc to go that far up the hill and get that left finish. You can see Kristin and Eveliina both trying to kind of sneak more on the inside route. Kristin's coming out a little bit low. This area kind of makes the decision for you. It's an easy layup from here. Sometimes I wish I would land there.
It is kind of nice when you are like so out of position, but close enough on the hole like this that it forces your hand.
Missy taking a chance.
Oof.
And
I was like 2 degrees or 1 wood chip away from rolling away. Eveliina laying it up.
yeah. I was going to say not messing around, but that was definitely messing around. Silva just outside the bullseye. What a drive.
I'm on the right side, but good pace.
4 down through the first 8 is great at the Beast. She's got to be feeling awesome about her round so far. Only, again, a quarter of the field birdieing this hole. 7 birdies on the day today. Again, just like the theme of these wooded holes, it's right there in front of you, but not a guaranteed birdie ever.
Yeah. Feels pretty gettable, but there are a lot of ways you can mess it up.
So we finished pretzel loop number 1.
Pretzel loop.
Yep, and we're going to head back towards Tournament Central, where the President's Cup holes were played on Wednesday, and all trending towards a little bit more open. This one, though, does have some nice trees. I love this hole. It's 338 feet. There's a bunch of options. You can go forehand where the drone is flying, a big wide backhand turnover, or there's a couple inside routes, a straight one that kind of carries over the OB, or a little bit more of a direct flex shot. All of them work great. All of them can get you a putt. Just depends on what you feel the most comfortable with. There's a little foot golf hole underneath the basket. That's a added bonus.
Takes getting the hole to a whole new level.
Silva going for that inside, more flexy route.
I thought that might be a little too high, but it is not.
Nope.
That is
The perfect height.
good to see Silva with a smile on her face.
She's trying to hide it.
She's like that.
I'm not happy. Missy, a little bit wider route.
Don't think that quite got as much turn as she was hoping for. I'm honestly a little surprised that Eveliina is not going with the forehand on this hole.
Me too.
Okay, well, that was good. So
Yeah, kind of a lucky shot though. It flirted with a lot of trees.
yeah, I feel like for me the forehand gap just looks so much bigger and so much cleaner that it seems the obvious gap if you have that forehand, which I know Eveliina does.
Kristin's mistake trending on the high side all day today. She just keeps kind of tickling those branches, not quite fully committing into the shot.
Nice upshot though. Limiting the damage.
Missy on a pretty severe downslope here. Nice little hyzer into the bullseye.
Yep.
There were only 6 birdies on this hole today. That's surprising to me.
Yeah. I think
More on the last hole. That's crazy. I feel like that hole's so much harder.
I feel like that hole's so much easier.
We also
I got myself on both. But I did birdie 8 and not 9.
I feel like you and I would disagree on almost everything about disc golf courses.
That might be true.
And you get to hear both of our opinions.
Nice putt to save the par.
Silva, 5 down on the front 9, bogey free. The beast is treating her well, and she's doing the same for it.
And suddenly she's only 2 strokes off of second place. Eveliina's been playing well as well on the front 9. And
Yeah, she's going to be hard to catch playing like that. But the thing about the back 9 at the beast is so much can change so fast.
yeah, a lot of holes where you can see huge scoring swings. Still going to have some more wooded holes, some more open holes. A lot of places where you can pick up and lose strokes.
The cut today is the top 16, although the top 12 cash. So everyone at that cut line is right around 12-ish over par, battling to play again tomorrow at the Beast. Again, no rain for the rest of the day. We're excited. So we got 9 holes in, 9 more to go. Please come hang with us on moving day, on cut day at the European Open. I'm Madison Walker.
And I'm Ella Hansen. We will see you on the back 9.